Hello CMC, hi friends from all around the world. This is Mateo Salvato. I'm 22 years old and I'm speaking to you from Buenos Aires, the capital city of Argentina, the country where I was born and grew up in. I'm really glad to be here today with you and be able to share some thoughts and ideas on how us young people can use the advantages of technology to help make this world a better place. I guess the best way to do this is by sharing my personal life story that, as you may guess, it's not too long. It's 22 years long, so it's pretty brief. But I'm sure that through this life story that has things related to entrepreneurship, innovation, technology, social impact, disability, and much more, we will be able, no matter where you're from, what's your age, or what you do for a living, to build some bridges that will connect us and help us see how we can collaborate into making the world a better place and using the advantages of technology to our self-advantage as a species. So I grew up loving technology since I was a little kid. I still am, but when I was literally a little kid, when I was 4 or 5, I always said that my dream was to work at NASA as an engineer. When you would ask me when I was 4 or 5 years old what changing the world meant, I would always picture a satellite going space or people descending into Mars, robots, and those kind of stuff. My dream was always to work at this kind of organizations and help make the humanity a multiplanetary species. So I grew up, as I was telling you, loving technology, but also at the same time, I grew up surrounded by disability. My mom is and has been a teacher for deaf people for the last 35 years. So as you may guess, I grew up watching deaf kids suffer to perform activities that for me were daily and easy stuff, and probably for you too. I don't know, asking directions on the street, or going to a restaurant, or I don't know, taking a bus or a plane. Things that probably for you and me are easy, for them were almost impossible. And I just couldn't figure it out. I thought, as a technology fan, I thought, how do we have time to put a rover on Mars and make it send pictures in real time to Earth, but a deaf person cannot report a crime? It just didn't make any sense for me. So I decided to use my own hands and produce something that would help all my deaf friends that I made during the years. So when I finished high school, in high school I always had my head into the most I don't know, difficult somehow parts of technology, or more applied parts of technology, as robotics and rocketry and physics and all electronics and that stuff. But then when I finished high school, I said, why don't we use this to help people? So that's how I wanted to code something that would help my mom's students, that were also, of course, my friends. So I started coding, and that's how Háblalo was born. Háblalo would be, in English, would be like to speak up. And the idea was to produce a little mobile app that would help my deaf friends communicate, like translate in real time things that their phones heard around them, and help them communicate with their surroundings, right? It was a little project, a little homemade project that I wanted to do in my summer break when I finished high school, before starting the university, engineering, of course. And that little project grew huge in no time. 4 years from then, Háblalo is one of the top five most used apps in the disability spectrum in the world. We help around 200,000 disabled people from 57 countries in the 5 continents, entirely for free. We were selected by the Peking University as the best social innovation worldwide, and MIT as a humanitarian innovation of the year, and much more. We are not only helping deaf people, but also people with cerebral palsy, ALS, autism, aphasias, and many other disabilities that affect particularly communication. From that little project, I built a startup that's called Asteroid Technologies, of course, related to space. It doesn't have anything to do with disabilities, asteroid, but I just loved space, so that's it. Asteroid Technologies, we are 10 people now, and we work in Háblalo and other technologies that impact life quality of people with disabilities. We work with huge companies. Like our business model briefly is we bring the responsibility of including to companies and governments. So they're the ones who pay for our product for organizations that allows all kinds of organizations to provide face-to-face services to their clients, and make them inclusive with a tailor-made version of our app that's exactly made for their needs and requirements. So for example, the Santander Bank in Argentina uses our app to provide services to their clients, also governments, Samsung, the Remax real estate company, and many others in the region. But okay, I don't want to use these 10 minutes to talk about myself. I want to tell you what was the biggest mindset change that I got from building a startup and helping people, and now running this company that helps almost 200,000 people for free in the world, right? And the biggest thing that changed here was the concept of changing the world. Remember that I told you that for me, changing the world looked like a rocket or a satellite orbiting the Earth, right? But now, changing the world looks more like a kid with cerebral palsy buying a sandwich for the first time using our app, or a girl with ALS being a teacher in a university using our app, or a dad being able to do homework with his kid that he couldn't do before because he has ALS, using our app entirely for free, right? But not only our app. Now I see that changing the world looks more like these little things, as Háblalo, but as many others around the world, that people produce, that maybe not very famous people, not very acknowledged people, but that they produce and enables humans to have a better life quality, right? And if that is changing the world, if a little app that a 17-year-old produced in a not developed country as mine, imagine what you can do, what any of us can do, living in the most connected moment of our species, in the biggest and most exciting moment in the history of humanity, right? When we can access almost any information we want and produce almost anything we want to help others. There's a ton that media can do to spread the word and the importance of building a more diverse and inclusive world, of showing people with disabilities and putting the people before the disability, right? Not talking about disability, talking about people, that we are all the same and we deserve to live as the same, as humans that we are, right? So the time has come. We, the young people, are the inflection point between the past and the future of our species. In our hands, not only of my generation, but all of us living this moment, is the fate of this community and how it will be impacted by technology and new social cultural standards, right? But we cannot do it on our own. Young people cannot do it on our own. We need the grown-ups to help, and the massive media's help to navigate the right path. We need you. We need you to showcase solutions and issues that we have to solve, right? And changing the world is coding a solution, but also showing it to the world. So this is my invitation from you, from Buenos Aires, from Latin America, to participate, to help, to visualize, to include, and to show the future that our generation could do it.